spot. Stewart looking okay. Doesn't have a good push behind him, though. It's going to be about the side draft. Every lap of the draft. It's a repeat. Unbelievable. Down here. Looks like it's all
behind him. Side by side. Checker flag in the air.
You people that you do this, I don't know, but I just want you to be safe. You're talented people and you're great people and great Americans. Have a good day, have a lot of fun, and I'll see you later.
I'm being your favorite driver.
Nope. I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
We back. Ideally, all this is running smooth, and whoever's watching this now or later can hear this great. Sorry that the intro kind of replayed on itself. Definitely got to figure that out because I had the loop button on. Got to switch that off. I got things to figure out. It's been a minute since I've had a live stream, so thank you if you're watching this now or on the replay crew. I really appreciate it. This is the good lane, and I'm the good Austin. The good lane is obviously all about NASCAR, all about racing. That's what I want to focus all my channel efforts on from now on. And I had that prerogative a couple of years ago, but obviously, you know, time fell through my hands. The iRacing was a little more challenging than I expected, which is good because that means that I get to challenge myself even more in the future. And we got a lot to talk about as far as iRacing goes and that. But what I want to focus on right now, NASCAR Truck Series, NASCAR Xfinity, NASCAR Cup Series. But obviously, before we get into all that, I got to give you a brief just overlook on what Syndicate Sports is going to look like on the good lane, on the good Austin's channel. We're probably going to have a YouTube channel. Definitely going to have an X account. But right now we're just in the development stages of everything. As you can see, this is just the first foremost flagship show of Syndicate Sports. So there's going to be more to come. There's going to be more content creators who join. There's going to be more people who have shows. And everyone who is in the Syndicate network already, if you have an idea for a sports show, if you want to talk about a certain sports thing, and you want to facilitate something, we can definitely work together and do that. That's what this network is going to be about. It's not going to be just about me or any one person. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of backgrounds, and there's a lot of different sports that they may or may not watch and may want to talk about. So let's do that. Let's have a conversation. Let's have the platform. Let's have the place. So without further ado, the good lane, like I said, Truck Series. Boom. Let's get on to it. Let's talk about the Truck Series. I watched this yesterday. I didn't catch the full race. Like I was kind of on looking because I was out doing stuff. I couldn't even watch cartoons and cereal because I was a little busy out doing stuff, running some errands, adult errands on a Saturday. But I was listening, and I was looking for my boy Stuart Friesen. Stuart Friesen is like a local hometown guy to me. He's from Ontario, Canada. I guess that's his hometown. But Stuart, come on, man. He's a track champion, a local track champion for multiple years via modifieds, and then he's worked his way up into the Truck Series now for, I want to say, 5 to 7 years. I should definitely look that up, but he's been up there for a while. He's 7th in points right now with last night's finish, and I think I was driving down the road listening into my earbud. My fiance is listening to her music, and I hear Stuart Friesen in the lead. I'm like, huh? because I know that Kyle Busch was racing at Atlanta because he loves racing the trucks and loves to win, obviously. So if you're good at racing trucks and you want to win as a race car driver, you're gonna do that. If someone wants to pay you to do that, you're gonna do that. So Kyle Busch is in this race. Everyone's talking about how he's the one to beat, and all of a sudden, my hometown hero, Stuart Friesen's in the lead, blocking him off. I'm like, what is going on? So I had to pay attention to driving as NASCAR and Stuart Friesen was driving. I'm like, oh my goodness. But of course, Kyle Busch pulls off a veteran side draft and gets the very last, as you can see on the intro. If you watch the intro back, I'll play the video again. That's just gonna be like a weekly recap video that we have on the ins and outs of the good lane. But you can see in that video, Stuart Friesen has the lead the whole last lap, and then of course Kyle Busch takes it, gets a nice push from Eckes, I believe, or maybe it was Ankrum. But I forget who it was, but gave him a great push and got him into the lead, pushed him onto the lead. Stuart Friesen gets a nice honorable second. I'm like, oh man, that would have been so sweet to see my hometown hero beat Kyle Busch. That would have been great. But still, great finish. Atlanta doesn't disappoint yesterday, and I thought it was cool. I don't know if this is an ongoing thing. I need to look into it. But NASCAR, do this more. Do the Truck Series, then do the Xfinity Series right after it. It's like having your JV and varsity games. Everyone's going to the school. You might as well have both teams play and have everyone just stay there for that amount of time. I was talking to my fiance as well. She was probably half listening, but the whole point of having people at the track is to sell stuff, right? And that's why NASCAR was such a great money maker, I believe. Things have died down recently, but comparatively to like the 90s and early 2000s, if you go to a track now, it's definitely not the same, but they're building back up. And the point is, you can have fans at the racetrack all day long. So you set stuff up to have them there all day. Let's have the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series back to back. Okay, what does that mean on the outside, the very outside of the track? There's all sorts of vendors with food, with merchandise, with whatever, with like necessities that you need. And ideally, I've never been to Atlanta, but the track has great facilities. Most NASCAR tracks do now. And you can get your amenities, or that's more enticement to have a camping pass and to bring some kind of camper or whatever if you know somebody, or to buy one, to rent one for this weekend, because you can rent one, go back to your trailer for an hour, a half hour, whatever, take a shower even, and then go back to the Xfinity race, which starts an hour after the Truck Series race. Like, that's ingenious to me. Why not do that? So I thought that was really smart. As a viewer at home, I also loved it because it's great racing. Atlanta had great racing to end the Truck Series race, and you're like, oh, wait, there's another race coming up in an hour. Okay, do whatever you got to do to kill an hour and come back. For this, though, however, I believe it's on two different channels, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been on FS1, and then I'm on CW for Xfinity. For whatever reason, they sold the Xfinity rights to CW for the whole year, but kudos to them. That's money. So either way, you got to switch channels, but NASCAR gets the eyes all day long. Well, what else is going on a Saturday right now in February? Not a whole lot. I know NBA All-Star is coming up, but even then, it's like for the entire day, you're glued in. So the quick look at the results. Sorry, let me zoom in that a little bit. You'll see there right at the top, we got Kyle Busch, Stuart Friesen, and look at this behind. I mean, hundredths of a second. 0.017 behind. Amazing. And he led one lap, which was the second to last lap. He led, and actually had a better speed than Kyle Busch. He started 8th, made it to 10th, or made it to 2nd, almost won the race. Stuart Friesen here on the good lane. We're pulling for Stuart Friesen down there. So, I mean, I'm pulling for him every Saturday when he's at Fonda. So how am I not going to pull for him when he's racing the truck. That might be a little cantankerous for him though, because there's no way he made it home from Atlanta to race at Fonda or will in the summer. So it depends. I wonder if they're going to change that to Friday night in the summer. NASCAR's wild, you know. This is the quote unquote spring track, the spring race at Atlanta, but it's winter, you know. It's the spring for the South. You'll see early season for and early and late season for NASCAR, they go south. But in the summer, everything is up north and Midwest. So it's kind of funny how that plays out. Like, there's no way you could run a Chicago street course right now, not a chance. But you can go ahead and do that in July. That's what is the great thing about NASCAR. It is like a great American series. You know, you get all seasons and all states and all different states of seasons during the race season. So again, wow, shout out to my literary skills right there and the enunciation. This is the Truck Series race. We are gonna go and look over at, if I can, hopefully I can hit the back button. It doesn't screw everything up. There we go. We're gonna look at the results for the Xfinity Series race, which is just as competitive. A little bit more crashing, I will say that. Like, the Truck Series race didn't have as many cautions as you would think, with more rookies and quote unquote less experienced drivers who are usually racing in the Truck Series. But compared to the Xfinity Series, there was less. There was just less cautions in the Truck Series race. Way more cautions than the Xfinity Series race. I guess Justin Allgaier, the guy who ended up second, he was the one who raced the Junior Motorsports Cup debut car, the number 40 whiskey. Wow, Traveler whiskey. Sorry, I couldn't even think of it. Traveler whiskey car. Need to be quicker with that, Austin. He raced that. Is back to Xfinity racing full time. Obviously, he raced the Xfinity race last week as well in Daytona. I don't even know if he did as well as he did in the Cup race, which is kind of hilarious. But he said during qualifying of what not to do at this track was to hit the apron. And you'll see again in that video, in the Good Lane video, a couple of guys hit the apron, and as soon as they do, it's like it bottoms out their car just enough. Let me get my hand car in the frame. It bottoms out their car just enough, and that weight transfer and wheel difference, just getting off that for the speed that they're going for the split second, it just takes the handling right out of the car. You'll see in that clip also, Sheldon Creed does the same thing that the cars behind him do. He hits the apron as well, but just has more experience racing these cars. He saves it. He drifts up a little bit and he saves it. But the cars behind him do not save it, and they all spin around, and unfortunately they crash. So we'll see how the apron affects the Cup Series drivers today, and if they are, you know, as aware of it or need to be aware of it as much. But it was a killer, man. That apron was a killer for the Xfinity cars. They'd hit that and just spin right out. It was like there's almost like hitting oil on the track. But talk of the town all weekend for Atlanta, and as it should be, he's gone now back to back to back. And it's another Austin, so we got to shout him out. Austin Hill, driver of the number 21 RCR Bennett Trailers. I want to say Bennett Trailers car. It's funny because they sponsored the race. It doesn't say it here now, but it did on the other page. Let me see. The Bennett Transportation and Logistics 250. Bennett Transportation and Logistics also sponsored Austin Hill. It's like, oh, you won this race 2 years in a row? It might be a good idea to sponsor your car for the race again. They did. He won. He led 146 laps. As you can see, that is more than anybody else by far. The next person who led laps close to that was Jesse Love, his teammate, number 2, and it's only 13. So yeah, you can see 146 laps led. Austin Hill, clear favorite, and won the race pretty handedly. There at the end, there was a crash on the backstretch. I believe it was number 4. Who's number 4 here? Yeah, he'll see him down here because he crashed out at the end. Number 4. Where are you, bud? Parker Retzlaff. On the final lap, going into turn number 1, he drifted a little bit and hit the wall. And you're like, oh, that's not too good. And then, of course, coming down the straightaway, you're going on the straightaway, Parker Retzlaff, and he gets a little squirrely and spun out, slammed into the outside wall, and then careened back in front of the entire field and just took everybody out. I think he was running 5th. I want to say he was running 5th on the final lap. He ends up 27th. So I was a little worried about Parker Retzlaff, but NASCAR did this thing where they let it ride. If there's like a caution type or an accident on the last lap, if it's not going into the first corner, if it's on the backstretch at a big enough track, I think they're going to let it ride like this, and they should. I mean, back in the day, you used to be able to drive out to the caution. Like, okay, we know a caution's out, but you got to race to the line, and that'll determine if it's the end of the race. That'll determine the finishing results. If it's, the next until we re-rack and go again for another pace lap or whatever, that's going to determine where you line up, is where your place when you get to the line. If you're able to get to the line, which is important. So the reason why NASCAR did away with that was for safety issues, because people were trying to race back to the line and they were running into each other and running into people. So obviously it caused a great concern when there's spun out cars and people are trying to race back to the line. They might hit those cars going full throttle, so it's a driver discretion thing. And if the drivers can bear on the safe side of that discretion, who are behind the wreck and obviously out of the race, if they can just, all right, take the defeat, and the other drivers have the ability to drive back to the line, quote unquote, safely, and the crashed out drivers won't be in harm's way, let it ride. The only thing that everyone complains about is the inconsistency, which I totally get. But from what I've seen so far, these last couple of races with finishes, as far as the Cup Series race and now the Xfinity Series race this week, if they crash out on the final lap, they're not going to end it in a caution. Like, they're not going to call the caution. They're going to just let it ride until the final. And then when they cross the line, obviously the race is over. So everyone's slowing down anyways. I think they should do it. Let them race back to the line. It makes it more exciting. And it's the final whatever 10th of a mile of the race anyways. And it's all about, no one thinks about it. Why do they call it the 400, the 300, whatever? Because it's, can your car last that long? Can the car, driver, team combo last that long? Like, sure, you look pretty on the first pace laps, but can you stand the test of the mileage? And that's the whole point of automobiles. You got a distance, you got a place, you got to get from A to B. And from A to B in NASCAR is from lap 1 to lap whatever it is, lap 160, lap 180. And that's the point of racing. It's every manufacturer, every team up against the other, every driver up against the other, to see who's the best, to see who can get there the fastest and in the best shape. If you can get across the line without a scratch in your car, then you just whooped everybody. And that's what everyone tries to do. Sometimes that's not the case, but that is ultimately what everyone's trying to do here in NASCAR. And I like when we see things like that. I like when they let them ride it out and we can see the final mile or whatever it might be under green and not be coasting over the line. Like, that used to be the worst thing to see at a finish. And everyone would complain because at the point of the caution, where was the timing loops and when did they cross them and blah, 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 blah. And then we got instant replay and then you could see exactly where they are. It's like, nah, they're supposed to race. Let them race back to the line. So that's my spiel on that, and my spiel on the Xfinity Series. This is the top 10 we'll go through real quick. Austin Hill, like I said, number 1. Justin Allgaier, the former Xfinity champ. I'm pulling for him all year. I'm obviously pulling for all Junior Motorsports cars. He's my favorite driver of all time. He's got a team full of racers. I'm going to be pulling for them all the time. So JRM comes in second place. Justin Allgaier, number 7. Eric Almirola, the old guy who said he retired last year. He's back for a couple of races this year. I believe 8 more races. He got 3rd. He was a little complainy about the end there, but come on, Eric. You're racing for a good cause. I believe it was like some Christian foundation that he was racing for. So good airtime for them, like the whole last lap. Shout out to Eric Almirola. Sammy Smith driving that number 8. Ooh, it looks nice on the track. Shout out to Junior Motorsports for getting that 8 back. I know that the Earnhardt Incorporated, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, the remnants of that with Teresa, they had the rights to that number 8. So we always saw like a botched number 8 from Junior Motorsports. And seeing that number 8 from Sammy Smith, oh, it's so nice. Sammy Smith's got to feel nice about getting that. Excuse me. I got to cough real quick. I'm going to mute myself. So we got a what's good, Necron? Thanks for showing up, dude. Talking some NASCAR in here. As you can see, I don't know. Let me zoom in on this Sammy Smith right here. This number 8 right here. Can you see it? Oh. Right there. Look at that number 8. It just looks right in NASCAR to see there. It just looks right. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Junior Motorsports for getting that. Sammy Smith, I think it was 4 straight consecutive top 10s at Atlanta Motor Speedway for him. Nick Sanchez came in 5th. Good old Jeb Burton, came in 27th. I love, he's got to be Ward Burton's son for sure. I'd be surprised if that's Jeff's son. Just the way they talk, man, is different. If no one knows the Jeff Burton, Ward Burton difference, we'll have to go through that one day on this stream. That's hilarious brotherhood. Couldn't be polar opposite guys. But Jeb Burton, number 6, came in 6th. Daniel Dye in the number 10 came in 7th. Leland Honeyman. What a name. Leland Honeyman in number 70 came in 8th. William Solowich came in 18th for Gibbs Racing. Came in 9th for the 18 Gibbs Racing Toyota. And then Harrison Burton, that's Jeff Burton's kid, came in 10th and 20 for the number 25 Ford. And that's your top 10. Like I said, Austin Hill was the favorite. He basically led every lap. Only his teammate led the second most laps, and he only had 13. 146 laps to 13. That's a dominant race right there. So shout out to Austin Hill. And let's just take a quick preview at the Cup Series. If we can get the Atlanta lineup real quick, let me click on that and show you guys that. Pole position, Ryan Blaney again. So it's going to be another Penske show at this super speedways. We always hear about and I've heard about so far at Daytona how the Fords were kicking ass, and I don't know if you guys can see it that well. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. This is all Fords right here. Top 5 Ford, and then you got Kyle Busch mixing it up with a Chevy, but then again, Ford. Wow. Ford all the way to 11th. This is nasty. How does that, that looks so good for Ford as a manufacturer. Now, will they finish like that? It remains to be seen, but obviously by themselves on the track, the Fords are kicking ace right now. Where's the first Toyota? Wow. Bubba Wallace, 14th is the first Toyota. And then Tyler Riddick, his teammate, 18th that's insane to me. That's insane. It's basically all Fords for the top 10. And you got one Chevy, Kyle Busch, in 6th. And then the next Chevy is AJ Allmendinger in 12th. So they're mixed up 5 and 5 Fords in between the 2 Chevys to start this race today. Pretty interesting and pretty hilarious to look at as a fan. You're like, okay. If you're placing a bet today, which I'm definitely going to, I'm going to put in a top manufacturer is going to be Ford. I think that's a safe bet. No, everybody? Come on. It's insane. Ryan Blaney, first, Ford. Austin Cindric, his teammate, second, Ford. Josh Berry, third, Ford. Joey Logano, Penske teammate of Cindric and Blaney, 4th. Ford. Todd Gilliland, 5th, Ford. Kyle Busch, RCR car by himself, Chevy, in 6th. Here we go back to the Fords, everybody. Zane Smith, 7th, Ford. Chris Buescher, 8th, Ford. Brad Keselowski, 9th, Ford. Noah Gragson, 10th, Ford. Ryan Preece, 11th, Ford. Is that all the Fords? Is there? Okay, Cole Custer's down here. Cody Ware's down here. Corey LaJoie. That's all the Fords basically are starting at the beginning of this. So if we're going to go on our safest bet today, I think we're going to go top manufacturer Ford. All right, book it. Safest bet. We got to put that in for Syndicate Sports Money. I'm going to do a little thing that comes across the screen. And it'll go across the screen. That's our safest bet. Top manufacturer Ford. Book it. I mean, come on. Come on. Long shot. All right, we'll go long shot quick too to win this race out of nowhere. I mean, would it be another Ford? We just say Denny Hamlin since he's one of the best racers and he's back here in 37th for some reason. He must have had to change something or had a problem in practice. I'll have to look that up. That's on me as a host. I apologize. But yeah, he's back here in 37th. I'm going to say Denny Hamlin is the long shot of the day. I'm going to put that one in too, but definitely top manufacturer Ford. One to watch for sure, Denny Hamlin back here in 37th. And then obviously the other one to watch, I mean, because they're just going to be showing you Fords all day, so I'm not gonna be what the broadcasters are going to do, because that's an obvious storyline. My storyline to watch is Kyle Busch. He just won yesterday, just won the Truck Series at the line. And if you go back to last year, they had the closest finish in motorsports history with 3 cars finishing 3 wide across the line, and like 1,000th of a second separated all 3 of them. And Kyle Busch could have won that race, but I believe he got 3rd, which is crazy because they all finished right there, and he was leading. And that was the closest time he had to win a race last year to keep his streak going of 19 consecutive years of winning a race. And he didn't win the entire season after that. So Kyle Busch, think he's going to be a bull in a china shop today, not giving an F about all these Fords that are around him. And he's going to wait till a teammate from RCR can show up and help him. Austin Dillon down here maybe, or maybe one of the Hendrick cars can help him, but because he used to be a Hendrick car himself. But that's insane. He's just surrounded in no man's land, the lone Chevy with all the Fords. Kind of funny to look at. So that's what I'm going to be watching today. That was the good lane with the good Austin. I appreciate everyone being here today. And we're going to slide on here. I'm going to play the last, the video again, and then sayonara. Make sure you put in your bet for top manufacturer of Ford for sure. And my long shot of the day, like I said, is Denny Hamlin. One to watch is Kyle Busch. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.
fan of you people that you do this. I don't know, but I just want you to be safe. You're talented people and you're great people and great Americans. Have a good day, have a lot of fun, and I'll see you later.
I'm being your favorite driver.
Nope. I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.